the reason we're playing a little snippet there of Sabrina Carpenter is she is furious. That was her song Juno. She's furious, incandescent with the President of the United States. John's here to tell us why and the backdrop to why as well. John.
Yes, so Sabrina Carpenter's song has been used without her permission for an ICE video. And ICE are the Immigration and Customs Enforcement people who have been going around chasing who they think are illegal immigrants, stopping them, taking them off somewhere to kind of interrogation centres and possibly being deported. And a lot of people who have got nothing whatsoever to do with illegality, who are there as legitimate American citizens but have the criminal offence of being slightly brown in colour, are being picked up. And so Sabrina Carpenter has said, this video is evil and disgusting. Do not ever involve me or my music to benefit your inhumane agenda. And you'd think that the White House might just think, OK, well, we need to take this down. She doesn't want this used. Instead of which they've put out this flip reply, which is full of kind of lyrics from Sabrina Carpenter's songs, like, you must be stupid or slow. Who would defend these sick monsters must be stupid or slow. Then there are other kind of things in the statement as well, which just, saying, we couldn't really give much of a damn what you think, Sabrina.
Are there different rules there, is it? Because we, for example, would only play a little bit of it here because we don't have the music rights to play it for longer as a music station would have. Does that kind of thing not exist in America?
Well, I think that it's more the Wild West, and I think that the Trump White House does what it wants to do without too much regard. I mean, there is a history of this. That all sorts of people have said, I do not, at Trump rallies, where it was, there would be the same music kind of played. There was a lot of Elton John, a lot of Rolling Stones, kind of
no permission sought,
and I don't think permissions were sought. But there were some artists who said, no, I don't want my music associated with your events, and the music was taken down. But Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and it's interspliced. The music is playing while you see kind of ICE officers chasing after foreigners near the border and arresting them. And Sabrina Carpenter saying, no, I don't want.
You can see why she feels that way.
Yeah, of course.
And on those ICE raids, some of the people who've been picked up don't have the full legal rights to be there. But some of the images I've seen in relation to these ICE raids, and I certainly haven't covered it enough on this programme because we have our own issues, don't we, going on. But some of them are like, pairs of ICE agents walking into a primary school classroom, a kindergarten, and just telling kids they need to come with them because they've got their parents and they're about to be kicked out of the country. And it's real RoboCop stuff.
And look, there have been scenes in Chicago of a Black Hawk helicopter hovering over an apartment block, and the kind of special forces kind of, powering down from ropes into the apartment block to carry out raids. I mean, they're not terrorists. I mean, they may be in the country illegally. And also, let's face it, in America, there are an awful lot of very, very wealthy Americans, billionaire class, who depend on illegal farm labour, for example. They pay taxes. They're not in the country legally. They pay their taxes. And the crops will not get picked in the central belt of California unless you've got people there. I have a friend from when I lived in Washington who told me that Hispanic kids in their classroom are being taken home by white parents so that you don't have the possibility that you're scooped up by ICE officials because they're there as citizens, but they are Hispanic. They've got nationality. And so there are raids taking place because, you look a little bit brown, I'm coming after you. And so I think it has caused all sorts of problems in America. And, ICE officers. And look, Donald Trump has been incredibly successful, in fairness to him, for stopping the flow of illegal immigrants coming across the southern border. What he promised was that he would crack down on the drug smugglers and the cartels and the gangs. And an awful lot of people said, I support deportation of all these people who are bringing the drugs into the country. But it's gone far wider than that. And so you have unmarked vans now sitting outside, say, a Walmart, which would be the gathering point for immigrants who were doing day labour in a field somewhere or whatever.
Saying, I'm available, yeah.
Yeah, I'm available. And they'd be waiting to be picked up for work. And now there are unmarked vans just picking them up and taking them out of the country. And it's led to an economic slowdown because you haven't got the people there to do the work.
Yeah, and it's worth saying that some of these agents are masked. Often they are masked.
They're all masked.
They have no numerical identification on them.
No name tags.
I mean, that is just terrifying.
And it's not that they are an army all wearing identical uniform. They've got bandanas on. They've got their own bandanas on. Some are wearing jeans. Some are wearing full fatigues. And so
real fear.
Well, it looks like, and I'm not saying it is, but the perception is that it's Donald Trump's private army that is doing his bidding in a war within America.
I mean, I don't know whether this has happened, but it also leaves the way open for just random criminal, predatory people to dress like that and grab people off the street.
Well,
if you're not identifiable as an actual officer.
Because none of them are wearing name tags. Now, look, Donald Trump is putting out adverts that ICE officers are brave patriots who are doing a good job in America, but it has extended and got wider. And I think that, if you are there, you've been living there for 2 generations, 3 generations, but you are Hispanic, but you originally your forefathers came from Mexico, as my forefathers came from Eastern Europe, 120 years ago, and you are living in fear of being picked up just because of what you look like. That must be a pretty ugly place to be.
And before we go, a word on Venezuela. You mentioned the drugs gangs and the drug cartels. What's going on around and over Venezuela at the moment? Because it's whatever it was, Pope Leo in Lebanon felt obliged to say something about it.
So America has amassed a huge force off the coast of Venezuela, which sort of sits in the Caribbean, and there's a carrier group, America's biggest aircraft carrier, and all the support vessels that go with that. Donald Trump has apparently enabled CIA officers to target ops. It is perfectly possible that we will wake up to the news tomorrow or at the weekend that an invasion has started of Venezuela. It looks like Donald Trump is trying to put on so much pressure on Maduro that he will relinquish power peacefully, that he will go off and live somewhere else. He'll go and live in Cuba and, he will disappear from the scene. The darker view is that America has got its eyes on Venezuelan oil and that this is all a cynical kind of ploy to get rid of a dictator but get its hands on one of the biggest oil supplies. In the meantime, what's been happening, and this again is hugely controversial, is that the American military have been targeting boats which they allege have got drug smugglers on them, and blowing them out of the water. Not only blowing them out of the water, and this is the biggest controversy of all, about whether war crimes are being committed. So there was the first of these incidents where 2 survivors were seen clinging to wreckage after the attack, and the Americans attacked again to kill the 2 survivors. Now, if you think they are criminals and engaged in criminal activity,
arrest them,
put them on trial, find out who they were acting for, who the drug
and if they're clinging
were.
to a boat, they're pretty arrestable.
And if they're clinging to a boat, they're pretty arrestable.
Yeah.
And that hasn't happened.